Hello, 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 once more. So, for Bolt, Bolt is the hardest character to do low percent, like by far. Even now, if I had to jump, if I had to select one of the 9 characters to do a run right now, I will tell you, I am 99% confident that I can clear that character right now first try. Because when you get the platinum, when you finish this trophy, you just have to be good, and you have to be confident in your ability to just finish it. However, if I start a Bolt right now, I will probably die. There's a chance I will die. Like, I did it, and I have at least 20 Bolt clears done, but there's a big chance I might die. Because Bolt is just that difficult. He's just that difficult. And incredibly, it's also one of the characters where I have the least tips in terms of just zones in general. Like, I will give you some for bosses, but in zones in general, like, he is protected by the spirits, so zone 1, there's nothing about spirits. It's basically just use your spear to kill the enemies, just normal Bolt gameplay. Just have Minotaur awareness, Dragon awareness, but there's really nothing I can say for Bolt besides just keep playing, just keep playing, just keep playing. Like, you will get good at it eventually. It just feels like an impossible task in the beginning when you start playing this character. It just feels impossible. Like, the first time I picked this guy, I was like, there's no way I will have to do a clear with him and then all the other 8 characters. That's insane. But you just start playing more Bolt and more Bolt and more Bolt, and eventually you will start be very consistent to get into zone 4, and then it's a matter of just finishing the drill and get to the next character. Bolt should always be the first or second in your run. Like, you can put him a bit late if you get to a point where you are just so good at Bolt and you start to play less time the other characters. There's a possibility that you can put Bolt a bit later, but there's no way you can put him like later than 4th. Like, you could, but that will be a crazy move to do. That will be a crazy move. It's definitely doable. Like, if you are good, you can even put him 9th, of course, but we all know Bolt must be done early. It's a very difficult character. So tips in general, just be careful with being snagged. So about the snag, it's basically when you are trying to attack an enemy. Like, I want to go up to attack an enemy there, and there's an enemy already behind me. Either it's because the bat just got into that position, either it's because there's a teleport in zone 3 that throw the enemy in that position, and you want to go back, and basically you get snagged because the spear attacks 2 tiles away, and you are, instead of running away, you are attacking the enemy below you, and then the enemy above you will then attack you back. So you gotta be very careful with that, and the only way to prevent that is kill one enemy at a time. Make sure before you advance everyone is killed, because always think, if you have to backtrack to a position, is there like anyone there? Even the green slimes in zone 1, is there like any enemy that can make my life harder? So just kill everyone, don't leave anyone behind. And like, for Bolt, like, you basically just need to like insert an adrenaline shot in yourself before you even start playing Bolt. Like, just go grab like 2 or 3 coffees and you just need to be so aware, like to be in such an adrenaline state. Like, you just need to live with the intensity of Bolt. Like, you just need to live with it. Another thing that's very personal is some people like to just always stay on beat with Bolt, like never lose a beat. I don't mind clicking the button to lose beats like this. I can still keep my precision doing that, but that's like a personal decision. You don't have to do that. Like here, when I call the goblins, I basically go back and I start clicking the button to waste bits to call them. It's like here. And some people just prefer to never lose the beat, you know? Like, imagine that you want to kill this guy and you want to line yourself with him. People will just keep losing bit and see, is it safe to kill him? It is, let's just click right. I will probably just wait. Let me just find the... That's funny. Sometimes you can also have these tiff dudes. See how I lost a bit there? I just let him go by me and then attacked him. Some people will just like to keep the beat. Like, I don't mind just being still and staying like completely precise. I'm still precise. I'm losing the beat on purpose, but I'm being precise. And I want to play like that. It's like intentional. And I just got my way of playing Bolt that works for me. So for Bolt specifically, just try, see what fits best for you. Most people will never lose the beat, but I play differently. This is how I prefer to play. So I was trying to show you the slime. Like, what I prefer to do is basically, instead of trying to find like the perfect beat to kill the slime, I just stop and then I just kill him like this. You know, it's those small details that might seem just irrelevant, but this basically changes completely your Bolt game style in every floor. And I just improved and I just decided to play Bolt like this. So see what fits best for you. But you really need to live with that intensity with double tempo. It is what it is. Zone 4, not much to say. Zone 4 can be really difficult, especially 4-3. When you sometimes you just open the first room and there's like a confusion dude, a blade master, a warlock, all at the same time against you, and it's very difficult unless like you can have walls protecting you, like I explained with Harry and other characters, like use the wall to protect you. Sometimes you won't, sometimes it will just open all of a sudden everything and you have like 3 enemies against you at the same time in double tempo. So sometimes the only way to survive is basically place a bomb. Like, it's always survivable, but it's just so much pressure, so much intensity that it's really hard. So you have to use a bomb in that moment, use it if you have it. So just keep practicing, keep going, you will get the Bolt clear eventually. And the hardest one, I'm going to lie saying the hardest one is always the first, but that's a lie. Like, it will always be difficult to clear Bolt, it will always be. And like, the boss lineup for Bolt is probably the most important of all the characters. Like, every character you enter, like, a boss can be a bit more difficult or not, that's fine. But for Bolt, it can literally be the difference between you actually clearing Bolt or not. If you get like King Conga 3, Dead Metal 4 or Deep Plus 4, like it's Dead Metal 4 specifically in King Conga 3, that's the worst lineup possible. It's a very hard boss lineup for Bolt. Coral Riff is one of the easiest bosses for Bolt, I will show that right now. If you can get him later on in the run, perfect, but sometimes you just can't. So I will be showing a lot of these bosses in no bit mode, because it's just easier for me to talk. Like, imagine trying to explain stuff and everything is in double tempo. And it's also a way to justify my lack of skill, so we'll just do it this way. I will turn off for some moments. But for Coral Reef, I will only explain the hardest variant, but for the others, you know, it's basically the same. First of all, never use bomb on this character, on this boss, you don't need it, it's the easiest boss for Bolt. What I always like to do is, let me just increase the view multiplier, or decrease in this case, so we can see everything, so I can explain you something. You can try to do this boss normally, how it's meant to be played, or you can use this sheath strat, that it's by far the best and most successful strat you can do for Coral Reef. You get to this corner, and you basically now just stay here, waiting for every enemy. Sometimes they will spawn on top of you, sometimes on the left, sometimes diagonally. All you have to do is react in time to attack him immediately, so he doesn't hit you back. In double tempo, sometimes you might fail the timing because you don't know which one of them is going to appear, unless you actually know which one is going to appear, because there's a logic. you know the battery dude, like the green dude that you see on the right side? When he disappears from the water, he will always spawn on, like, vertically, on top or bottom. Since he can spawn on the bottom because you are near the wall, he will always spawn on top, like the battery one, the green one. Then there's like a piano, the red one. Do you see the red one? It's kind of cut on the top. Though that piano, you will always spawn on horizontally, so on the left or right side. Since we are near the wall, you will always spawn on the left side. So if you take a look at the water when this boss is happening, you always know, okay, the battery just appeared, I'm going to click up in a second. The piano just disappeared, okay, I'm going to click left in a second. If the other two disappear, you already know that you can't move. So check this out. Next bit is up. See? Up. Then we keep the boss fight. We know it's going to be diagonal now. It can be diagonally instead of like top left and bottom right. It can be top right and bottom left, which means that one specifically won't spawn. You won't appear. Only the other one, like this. It's the other diagonal. So we already know that the fourth phase will get us the piano one. Like you can see, it just disappeared, and now it's going to be on the left side. So you knowing this and you predicting the enemy movement on the top, you will never fail this boss and you will never get damage. Now it's basically just wait for the next phases, and now they will start spawning like this. It's the last phase, then they will start coming one at a time. As soon as like they are 2 tiles away, you immediately attack them. First now left, only prioritize Coral Rift, because it can damage you from like that water that is powers. And that's basically it. Then you can either stay here or just get a bit close to him. And yeah, it's a very easy boss fight. It's a very easy boss fight. Like you can try this in double tempo. There's no point in me showing it, but fine, I will show it once, just so you can see. But it's one of the easiest bosses. It's good. You always want to get these like Coral Reef 3 or 4 is always the best you can get, honestly. Like I already know, now it's going to be left, so I'm always ready to click immediately, you know? Just gotta be careful in this phase specifically, so Coral Reef doesn't damage you. And yeah, that's it. Then the last one you can just dagger throw. And yeah. It's a very good cheese method. Let's go back to okay. Next boss. I guess we can talk about Deep Blues. I will show you the hardest variant. Let me put no bit mode. So for Deep Blues, I do the highest variant of Deep Blues differently than the easiest one, because the easiest variant of Deep Blues, what I usually like to do is, since every piece will basically die with a single hit, I like to just start from left to right, because look at this, like every piece is blue. You can just do something like this, like everyone will just die immediately. It's just very easy to do, even in double tempo. Just start from left to right, like taking pieces out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like in a row. But once you start getting to the higher variants of Deep Blues, it just becomes hard to do this in double tempo. Like I'm in no beat mode right now, so it might seem easy, but it's just very, because it will be like in a speed like this, and you can mess up. So here is when it's one of the bosses that usually when I give my strat, I always recommend it and say like, you really should do it like that. It's a really good strat. I'm very confident on my strats. But for Bolt D plus specifically, I really think you should do what you feel like it's right. Either you start from, I'm talking about highest variants of D plus, like D plus 3 and 4. You should always start from left to right, or you can do it like me, which starts from the right side that I will show you now. But I want to make this clear. For this boss specifically, it's one of my weakest bosses. I'm not very good at it. Like, I found my way to do it, but it's very there are a lot of inconsistencies in my methods. I fail a lot of times. What I usually do is I enter from the right side and I basically start killing pieces. Since I have the dagger, the spear, I can basically kill all these enemies 2 tiles away. But if I start getting too much in the top in double tempo, like right now I will be in double tempo clicking so fast that immediately I will probably just try to attack him. And the moment I attack him, I just get hit. So what I basically found out, with also the help from Q123 was also the guy that gave me this tip, and then I kind of just transformed it into my own way. It's basically using this tile that I'm right now, like the second column and the third row from the right, like this specific tile is basically where I want to stand in the entire bolt fight. Like here, instead of going up, I just lose a bit, I just attack, then I just lose another bit, then I just attack, then I just keep attacking. And I know I can stay here because the pawns, even if it's a right side pawn opening, they will only move like right now, like this exact moment. And if they move right now, I still have time to react and go to the side or go back. Because I'm always a bit more back. And then I just take care of the other enemies and I just wait here for the queens. And it's basically completely safe. The problem with this strat is you have to lose bits so fast, but also keep the precision, like attack, lose bit, attack, lose bit, lose bit, lose bit, attack, attack. Like it's just so random. You basically just have to see in the moment. So it's not like keeping that precision where you just need to keep the bit. No, you also need to lose bits to stay on that tile, like this tile specifically, right here. And at the same time, you basically need to be prioritizing, like, I could hit the horse, but now immediately I need to hit the queen because she will kill me. Then I need to go back in this situation. So there are a lot of reactions you need to make, not only for the enemies. Like, these queens always line up, it's crazy, right? Right side is the best. You always want to end up on the right side, it's insane. But what I mean is, don't take this strategy as like, I do it like this, but I just got very good at losing the bits and do it like that. I think it's a good strat, because if it works, it's a good strat. But you just have to practice a lot for it to work at all the time. The classic strat that everyone does for the Floriiss is you start from the left and you kill enemies going to the right. Like something like this. That's what usually everyone does. Something like this. Just left to right, keep killing pieces. So instead of you trying to change strats like I do, because like I told you, like D plus 1 and D plus 2, I go left to right. D plus 3 and D plus 4, I go to the right. It works for me. You can always try to do just the same strat, just left or just the right. This is what worked for me by trial and error. And yeah, for Bolt D plus, do some testing, see what works best for you. King Conga 1, I'm not going to go into King Conga 1, neither King Conga 2, because they are exactly the same as Cadence and Area. It's literally the same. I always do this mistake. It's literally the same, but it's in double tempo. So you basically just need to get good with double tempo. so you don't lose bits. But it's literally the same strat, it always works. If there is a bet, you back out. That's it, that's King Conga 1. My mistake there, remember, enter from the side always. Since I'm talking and playing, I can't hear my controller and I'm having a harder time keeping my beat. Also, since you have the spear, the lines don't need to be like perfectly lined up all the time, because you can always attack them from 2 tiles away, so you don't need to have the minions always get stuck to you. You can just improvise a little bit. So King Conga overall, it's very... The hardest part about King Conga is just focusing on keeping the beat so King Conga doesn't come out of the throne in double tempo, because the enemies in general will be okay to deal with since you have the spear. Let me just try to show you with Deep Blues what happens in double tempo. I haven't played this in double tempo for a while. You see, since I just failed one bit there, I didn't attack the queen properly. I basically got a second hit prior because of the pawn. So this is always a boss, like, and like I told you, it's a character that if I had to play now, there's always a chance that I could die, because it's just difficult. But yeah, it will be something like this in double tempo, starting from the right side. And you can even lose beats and fail a few moves and still do it. Hope it makes sense. Back to King Conga, sorry about that. King Conga, here we go. King Conga 3. I'm also not going to talk too much about King Conga 3 again, like go back to my cadence video, go back to my area video. For Bolt specifically, you should avoid losing bits, because if King Conga comes out of the throne, this fight will just get too crazy. You have the dagger, sometimes you might be able to kill the goblins, sometimes you might be able to kill the lines perfectly in the middle, sometimes you need to do some laps around. King Conga 3, you already know, like, the fight will always be different, you just need to improvise, there's a lot of RNG, or you can use the bomb, which is something that I always try to do, no matter what. No matter what, like, I will always do this. I will always do this strat for King Conga 3. Always. So, yeah, I already talked about King Conga 3 a lot in previous videos. I'm not going to just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. There's no point. Just remember, now you have a spear, so you can kill enemies a bit, like, there's like a bigger window of failure for you, even if you don't have like perfect lines or don't do like the perfect movement. Since you have the spear, you can always somehow survive, but there's always that double tempo that you fail a bit, King Conga will come after you. So you want to get that fight done ASAP, like just finish it ASAP. For King Conga 4, it's also the same strat. You enter from the middle, you go to the bomber on the left, then the bomber on the right. You decide in the moment if you have space and you can stay in the middle, or you just bail out and do laps around. I don't like to use bomb on this boss because you can't do the insta-kill strat, you always need to bomb him, then start attacking him. It's always unpredictable where he's going to land, especially in double tempo, it's just so fast that he might teleport around you and you will take a hit. So I just like this fight normally, like always. So wait for the bombers to lose their confusion. Here I basically got a very good lineup, and it's basically done. If you have to bail out, you bail out. I already talked about that in previous videos. So that leaves Dead Metal. Dead Metal is probably the hardest boss for Bolt overall. I think it's even harder than King Conga 3. It's just the beat is just too fast, and even if you can lose it, you need to be so precise that you shouldn't be losing the beat on Dead Metal. Even if you can, you shouldn't, because you need to keep that precision. Starting with Dead Metal 1, what you always want to do is, I always like to enter on parity, and like I try to do this fight as normally as possible, like if I was Coda. Get him in the center and start attacking him fast. Get into the last phase fast. Like you want to get him to the last phase fast, because if he starts spawning too many skeletons, like look at this. Look what can happen. Look. Look how many. 7. I somehow didn't take any hit. But it's just too crazy. You want to end this fight as fast as possible. That's it, like. And this is probably the easiest variant of Dead Metal, like, or the second one. You always want to get Dead Metal 1 or 2 for Bolt, that's best case scenario. But it's still stressful. Just kill the enemies, attack him fast. Don't let him start spawning skeletons. So you just need to be so precise, like as soon as he teleports for the next phase, you just go after him. And imagine if you are here and he spawns on the bottom right. If you by a mistake click up, you already lost 2 bits, because now you need to go back down, you lost 2 bits. And those 2 bits, you already spawned the skeletons. So you basically need to react instantly as soon as he teleports. Just practice it. For Dead Metal 2, I always like to do the same strat of doing the lap around, put all these guys here, and then I just start attacking him. Even though I like to be fast, for Dead Metal 2 specifically, it's basically the same as I've been saying about Cadence or other characters. Even for Bolt, you can take your time. There's no reason to rush, especially because if by a mistake you click these clones, you get hit unnecessarily. So this is probably the only Dead Metal that you can actually just even forget about the beat a bit and just do it like it's single tempo, like just wait and take your time. This is probably the easiest Dead Metal variant you can have in a run. If you have Dead Metal 2, that's great. Dead Metal 3. For Dead Metal 3, we need to go to no beat mode so I can explain you a few things. So basically, what you want to do with Dead Metal 3 is like, there are multiple ways to approach this. You can either kill every enemy, get to him ASAP, hit him fast, end the fight fast, a bit like Dead Metal 1, but here is even more important, because in Dead Metal 1 it's just basic skeletons that you can transform and you are still fine. Here it's riders, you are dead immediately. You need to finish him ASAP, that's the strat number 1. Strat number 2, enemy limit, like the spawn limit. You can either leave all these beetles alive, just try to do laps around the arena and leave all of them alive, or you can just kill every beetle. So inside the strat number 2 you can have a second option, which is kill every beetle, then attack his shield so he spawns blue bats which only do 0.5 damage, and then you start attacking him. So when he gets to the last phases, he won't be able to spawn riders. So you only have like blue bats that do 0.5 damage around the arena. But it's 0.5 bats moving at double tempo. And you know that bats are very annoying in double tempo. So it's up to you. That's another possibility you want to do. And I don't think waiting for the riders and opening is even an option, so I'm not even going to mention that. The final option is you use a bomb on him to try to get him to the last phase as fast as possible, or you can use the bomb and do one final hit on him to get him to last phase, or you can use that insta-kill bomb that we do in the bottom, but that requires a lot of precision in double tempo. I usually don't do that. Like, you can, but if you fail it, you can either be damaged by your own bomb, or you can be damaged by that metal, or you will just spawn enemies because you failed. Or you might even place the bomb incorrectly, and instead of you actually using the bomb, it gets protected by the shield, and you wasted the bomb by no reason. My personal recommendation is kill every beetle, use the bomb. Normally just put the bomb on his side somewhere in the arena and just hit him one more time so he gets to the final phase. This is what I do, and I always save bomb for that metal tree. Always. Like, I always wait for the third boss to see who it is, and I want to have my bomb in the third boss, because if it's Conga 3, I'm using it. If it's that metal 3, I'm using it. So there's like a 50% chance I can get those bosses. 50% is a lot. You will get King Conga 3 and that metal 3 a lot during your runs. So you always want to save a bomb for this. It's not an easy boss. Now, having said this, I will show all these threats, but there's also a very important thing that I would like to mention that no one will tell you. One of the most important things to understand is you have to kill the beetles fast, but most importantly, the first beetle. The first beetle is the most important. The first beetle is the most important to kill fast. There are 3 possibilities, which are the beetle spawns on the second row, spawns on the third row, like right now, or spawns on the fourth row. You always want to go for the closest beetle to you. Forget about that metal parity. In this case, the closest beetle to you is this one, so we already know we are killing this beetle no matter what. So when he is on the third row, what you always want to do is you enter the closest to him, then you basically start going from left to right or right to left, and he will immediately be on parity with you when he gets to the next line. So you go left, and when you go back to the right, he will always be on parity, unless he will always be on parity, but he might be on parity on the bottom row, depending of how far away he is on the third row. Like, he could be third row but a bit more next to the wall, and in this case he was very close to us. If we went for the blue one, it might have been different, but this is basically what you want to do. The first one is down. Then you basically just want to call all these dudes and try to do some laps around like this, and just open them and kill them. Then you bring that metal to the arena, to the center. You hit him 2 times, only 2 times, and then you basically need to wait him to be sideways like this. You drop a bomb and you leave. You always want to try to place your bomb in a way that as soon as you leave the bomb radius, Bolt will be closer to the center of the arena, because if he is closer to the center, you can either react to whatever corner position that metal tree might be in. In this case I'm in no hit mode of course, but I had time to go to him and still get the final hit before he actually called the rider. Now he's officially on the last phase, and I just need to finish him off, and then the fight. So that's basically it. For the beetle in the second row, what you usually want to do is you go as closest to him as possible, and you want to go to his row. You want to go to his row like this. When you get to his row, you come back and you are on parity with him. What can happen is if the other beetle is too close like this, sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to see in the moment. If the other beetle appears, you basically can't kill the other one first, but that's a good thing because now you can basically kill 2 beetles at once. And then you just need to call some of them to here and then start doing the laps around again. And basically kill the beetles and just do the same thing. Remember, try to place the bomb in a way where you can try to be as closest to the center of the arena as possible like this. So you can get this final hit. And by this point, it should be GG. If the beetle is on the 4th row, let me just show you, now he's a bit far away, let's see if it changes. We enter like this, left, right. See, now the parity is on the bottom row and not when he's on the 2nd. So, and sometimes this one can come. So I always do that. 3rd row, enter close to him, left, right until you are on parity. 2nd row, go to his row, then come back, you are always on parity. If it's the 4th row, we need one on a 4th row that can be a bit close to us. It's actually the rarest one to have, actually, the 4th row. Let's try this one, but we might not be able to because this one will always be close, so this is like a 3rd row. But if both of them are in the 4th row, what you will do is you enter next to the 4th row one and you go all the way to him, like this. If this blue guy wasn't here, I could attack the red one by going up now, because I'm on parity with the red one. Just see, I'm going to attack the red one, and the red one won't attack me, it will be the blue one. Oh, actually, I still can attack, because I was on parity with the blue one as well, that's okay. But if I wasn't, the blue one was going to attack me, and I'm still on parity with the red one, which is completely fine. So yeah, you want to just see which row they are, and just make sure that you kill them fast. Sometimes this might happen, where you don't have time to attack that metal before he drops the rider. But if it's only one, like, you can still take care of him. Most of the times what you want to do is like running around the arena like crazy, like doing laps if you have to. Don't feel like you need to be stuck, like just move around the arena very fast. So let's try a few attempts in without no beat mode though. I didn't show you the other strats because I don't do them, but the other strats are basically... Oh, I forgot about this one. The other strats are basically, like I told you, spawn limit stuff. You can just attack him here and now just try to take care of him, knowing that the bats are all around. Like, remember, we will be in double tempo right now, trying to just avoid bats. And if I kill a bat, like now, for a mistake, he can spawn a rider already. So yeah, this in double tempo will be very difficult. Like, it's even difficult just playing in no beat mode. So yeah, it's basically one thing you can do. I don't recommend it, but like if you want to do your first bolt clear, and if you like it's just so stressful to keep the double tempo, that might be like a small cheese method that can help you do your first clear. You can also, instead of transforming into bats, like leave all these beetles alive, then just find a way to attack that metal without them, like this. But remember, these will be in double tempo. You can imagine, right? No, we are getting snagged here. Yeah, I think it's just too much of a risky strat. I wouldn't recommend this. And the other one, I don't think there is anything else. I think it's basically this, yeah. Oh, the bomb one. Like the bomb one, it's basically the one where you put him on the bottom, like this. You place a bomb, you attack him, and then you go up, and you immediately have him on the last phase. But doing this on double tempo, it's very difficult. I will show you some attempts, see how it goes. It's probably the hardest boss for Bolt, for sure. It will be something like this, like you can see you can lose a lot of bits, but it's always stressful. It's always stressful to do, like having all these beetles, you have to open them, doing some laps around, placing the bomb perfectly. This will be my strat, basically. Yeah, I think that's it. Like the other things you can try in double tempo, I don't recommend them. But you can try for yourself. For Dead Metal 4. For Dead Metal 4, I talked about it. The bomb concept is the same. The bomb concept is the same. You kill all these enemies, then you do the same strat. Attack Dead Metal twice, place a bomb sideways, then do a final hit on him so he can enter his last phase. I talked on Cadence how... I think it was Cadence, no, or Area. I think it was Area. Yeah, it was Area. I talked on Area video about how important it is to just start cleaning up the arena. It's not important to kill the strongest enemy. It's important to start cleaning up the enemies. So what I usually like to do is I always enter from the side of the weakest enemy. Because I know that as soon as I enter, this guy just immediately dies with one hit. And now I just have 3 enemies. Like, I could go for the stronger one. Obviously, it's always an option to do it. If he is the closest one, like, you can attack him. You don't need to always go for the weak one. But what I feel like, I just want to start cleaning the arena, and the less warlocks I have, the better. So that's kind of my strat usually. Then it's basically, like, do laps around. See, like, when you feel comfortable to attack. Like here we have some space. Here I basically need to find a way to split them like that. Now I can kill this one. And then I just need to kill this one. And the arena is completely clean by now. If you have a bomb, you can basically just attack him twice. And place the bomb. It's not. It's the same strat. If you don't have a bomb, here I just took too long, so I basically just let that warlock use the trap. But if you are on the or not on the perfect bit with him, and you are too slow like I was, you just get hit. But what you want to do is basically avoid that situation. This is also a situation you want to avoid, but sometimes it's just difficult to get out of the beginning. Like one of the hardest parts of this boss is just getting out of there in the beginning, just killing an enemy and just bailing out safely, you know? That's just one of the hardest parts of it. If you don't have a bomb, then it's basically just attack him and try to get him ASAP. Don't lose any bits. Just try to get him ASAP. Don't let him start spawning enemies, because these ones might even be worse than riders, because riders, like, you can somehow find a way to open the skeletons. With these confusion dudes, if you have like 3 confusion dudes running around, it will be just too crazy. Don't risk it. Like here you need to be fast. Like ideally you want to have bomb here, but zone 4 can be tough. And zone 4, If you have to use a bomb, you should use a bomb, and you need to get to this boss without a bomb. Like, it is what it is. Unless you have King Konga 3. If you have King Konga 3, use the bomb, and then just try to do that Metal 4 without the bomb. Because King Konga 3, you should always prioritize in using the bomb. That's just my opinion. But yeah, like Dead Metal 3 and Dead Metal 4 are very similar, like the threats are basically the same. And for Bolt, it's basically it, like just keep grinding Bolt, keep playing, practice the bosses, warm up a bit before doing some runs. Remember, this is low percent. You don't always need to start in all zones mode. You can go back to the origins and play like individual zones. Because the good thing about playing individual zones is that you are always in low percent no matter what, like you are always playing low percent. So you can just jump into zone 4 and do zone 4 runs like this, and it's always practice. You can even try, like I mentioned that on my 40 tips video, like speedrun, try to kill mummies in a different position to see if you can survive. Like do some risks like this, see if you can like do clutch moments. Like you have to, with Bolt, you really need to get out of your comfort zone and do some crazy stuff sometimes. Like just go for it like a crazy man. Do some crazy training, like just go for it. Like just do crazy stuff. Just try to feel how it's like to be in very difficult positions, because you need to understand how to do some clutch moves with Bolt, especially when you get to zone 4. Just move around like a crazy guy, that's it. Because when you get to zone 4 with all zones, you want to get to zone 4 and you need to feel comfortable. You just can't to be like scared of playing zone 4, because that happens with a lot of people. Oh my god, we are in zone 4, need to be careful. Like, you always need to be careful. It's not because that you are in zone 4 that you need to be more careful. You need to be careful always, but don't feel like you need to be so scared that you can't move like this. Like sometimes you have to move like this, you have to go fast. There's no other way to do it. It's Bolt. Bolt will always feel fast. Like you have to move like that. Don't be afraid to open stuff. Also, you can use traps, especially in 4-3. I didn't mention that. I was so lucky. You can use traps to kill all these enemies. You basically just call them if they want to come, and then you just let them get to the traps. I just destroyed my traps. But yeah, it's basically that. Yeah, it's the hardest character by far. So yeah, good luck with Bolt.